is Chauhan. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss different types of loops in Scala. The very standard one are for loop, while loop, and do while loop. But in Scala, we have different types of for loop as well. So we have uh, different types of for loop in different categories. So we can use different range. We can use start range until end range. We can even use the multiple ranges. We can use collection, which we have not explored yet, but we will see a brief of collections as well. We can use filters. We can use yield. This yield concept is little new, but many languages has incorporated this concept as well. So the Scala has also worked on this yield concept as well. So one by one, we will explore all these loops. First of all, let's explore what is for loop and what are the different types of for loops. So if we go by the definition, what is a loop? Then a loop is an efficient way to write code to execute repetitive lines into a block of code, which is called loop. So let's say this is a loop, okay, and we are writing some lines inside the this code or this block, and we know that at some point of time they would be iterative. So instead of writing these lines again and again, we can put all these lines into just one loop, okay, and we can iterate the loop through those iterations, and we don't need to write those lines again and again. So this is the benefit of writing a loop. uh, the very first category of writing a for loop is when you know the range. Okay, let's say you have declared a variable, okay, which is a equal to 0, and a would store a would store 1 till 10. So if you simply print this, it will print value of a 1 to 10, okay, because the range you have fixed from 1 to 10. This inverted arrow shows that the a would start from 1 till 10. So this is one way to represent the range. There is another way. Instead of 2, you can simply write until. So the meaning of both of these loops are same, just the representation is different. So instead of writing 2 over here, you can write until. So the meaning is same, is it is saying that a will start from 1 until it would reach to 10, okay. The value of a would change, okay. So this would also print 1 to 10, okay. There is another way of writing loop with multiple ranges, okay. So you are not just restricted to use only one range. As you can see that you can use multiple range. You can use a, and you can use b. So in this case, as you can see, a would start from 1, okay, and it will go till 3, and b would start from 1 and it would go till 3. But along the together, we can use the multiple ranges as well till the root. So we will see what are those values, having both of the range, how they will increase. We will see through an practical example. Okay, we will run this code and we will see how they are increasing. Okay, they will increase altogether, or even it will increase from 1 to 3, and it will also increase from 1 to 3. So how these values are increasing, we will see through an example. Let's move on to the collections. We are yet to explore this collection. So collections are mainly having so many similar type of data types into one unit. This is called collection. So list is one of the collection types. So we can store, let's say we are storing 1 to 6 integer values. They have a common thing. They all are integers and they are storing in the list. They are getting stored in the list, which is a collection type, and we are storing the list into number of list. So as we were using a this inverted arrow, and then we can simply pass the reference of that list. So the a would start from the first element of the collection, and it will go till the last element of the collection. So even you can pass the collection instead of integer range. Okay. uh, you can even filter out. So Scala provides you some benefits using, a loop with some filters. So as you this is the same example I have copied pasted. If you're using list, so definitely your loop will go from 1 to 6, right? But if you apply some filters, it will skip some of the iterations. So it is saying that a should not be equal to 3 and a should be equal to 8. Then only execute this statement. So we will see the output. It will, it will not go for this and it will not go for the higher values than this. So we'll see the output. We will execute this program as well. This yield, the next one is the yield. This is very new. I hope you, some of you wouldn't be, wouldn't have come across this term yield. Yield in, technology, yield is something which would store the eventual result. So if you're using for loop, let's say, this is the same list I have taken earlier. This is the same one. Okay, I have written a for loop. Number of list. The A would start from the very first element of the list and it will go till the 10. We are using some conditions. We are using some filters. But as you can see, after closing this for loop, okay, as you can see, okay, this if we are closing this for loop, okay, uh, we are somehow yielding a. Yielding a means whatsoever with the condition or the filters we are using, whatsoever the value of a, simply yield it or return it into some other value. Okay, and that other value we are printing through another loop. So it is returning 1 to 7. Why? Because 1 to 7 and another one is a should not be equal to 3, so 3 is also missing, and it will only work till when the value is less than 8. So a here will yield only the value which would be passed by the filters or the iterative computations the loop would have. Okay, so the both operation will be applied. The number of iterations would come from the number of elements. Okay, and the filters which value would be continued means if the 3 would come, then the loop will be continued. It will not go inside the loop, so the a will not be yield. Yield means whatsoever the value will be applied, just store them in a and return into some other value which we can print. This is little new concept. We will code about all these types of for loops, so don't worry about that. You will get the clear picture then also. So let's discuss the for while loop and the do while loop. Okay, it is similar to the loop. So while loop we have used earlier in other languages as well, C, C++. You provide the condition over here, okay, and then you provide the increment or the decrement for that condition. Okay, you declare a variable earlier before the while loop. This is the condition with while loop. You have to declare and define the variable you are going to use in the condition. In the while loop you have to increment or decrement. This thing is flexible, you can use anywhere. Okay, you are not restricted to use it at the end. You are not supposed to increase or decrease at the end. But definitely if you are not increasing or decreasing your loop, your program counter will stuck into the loop and keep printing whatsoever you have written in your while loop. Okay, there is just one main difference in while loop. As you know that till the a would be less than 20, your loop will keep printing this, but you are not sure how many times this will print a. But in case of for loop, you with the range, because you know the range, you are always aware that how many times the loop maximum can run. So the major difference between while and for loop is this. You are not aware about the whole iterations till the situation is true, till the condition is true, the loop will work fine. Okay, in the do while loop, there is just one difference between while and do while. Is what do while loop in do while loop you first of all you type do and you type some statements over here. Okay, and then your condition will be checked. Okay, as you can see here, your condition would come after the do part. Okay, so it means it doesn't matter what is the condition, what is the value of a, simply execute this part. So when for the first iteration you are not restricted to execute anything, it means you should use do while loop, and then the condition will be checked. Okay, a should be less than, then again execute this one. Okay, but for the first condition, the condition will not be, for the first iteration your condition will not be checked, because it will be checked after executing both of these statements. So if somebody asks you, what is the difference between while loop and do while loop, you simply say to that person that whatsoever you write in do braces, they are meant to be executed irrespective to whatsoever the condition is or whatever the value is. So this part will always be executed. uh, there may be a case that second iteration, maybe this would be false. So for the second iteration, the program counter will not execute this part, but for first time, these lines will always be executed irrespective to the condition we have used in the while. So without any further ado, I have covered all these subcategories as well. Theoretically, let's execute a program. I have created a file. Okay, in that I have created three user-defined function: for loops, while loops. Okay, we don't need to use loops. It is just a loop. We can erase this. Okay, we are using simple, but for loops we are using different types of loop. Start with the basic range. I have already mentioned that this will go till 1 to 10. Instead of 2 you can use until. Okay, the meaning is same. I'm not redefining it. Okay, I'm simply assigning the zero value once again, and it is a variable, so it is possible. If it would be well, then it would throw some error. In case of multiple ranges, we will see the output of this. Okay, so hold on to that, because it would a would start from 1 to 3 and b would also start from 1 to 3. So how these statement will be executed, for they would be considered as a two for loop or just one for loop. Okay, so the value of a and b we will be able to see. Okay, whatsoever the print statement would be, we can get this understanding. Collection is having the similar type of data type into one unit. List is one of the collections, so it would have integer. From this example you can see, so the a would start from the first element till the last element. Okay, and it would print. Okay, it would print the values of a. So it would print the content of your your list. If you are using filter, it means with the number of list it would run from 1 to 10, but along with that it will have to go through some filters. So when you are using filter, always use semicolon to distinguish different types of filters. With this condition and filter, you have to use f. Okay, otherwise it will not work. Every time you use filter, should go with f, otherwise your program wouldn't work. This will also print some values except 3, and more than 8 or equal to 8 values will not be printed. With the yield, the same thing is there. It's just your for loop. As you can see, this expression is little different. We are using open curly braces and the closed curly braces over here. It is not similar to this syntax. Okay, this symbol is different. Whatsoever you write inside for loop, this one is different. You are writing inside the parenthesis. Okay, so this is different. So whenever you use yield, you should go with this expression. You are saying to the loop is saying that iterate the list, the values you have stored in the list. Check if it is not equal to 3 and less than 8, and all those values should be stored in a, and which we are storing or we are returning from the loop. So in the normal term, we can say the loop is returning something, and then we are printing it. Okay, while loop, as we have discussed, we have to provide the condition we are implementing over here. This is the same example I have discussed earlier, so let's not go through. As I told you, in do while loop, these statements will always be executed, and at the end, after first iteration, the condition will be checked. So this is everything. We have to see these ranges, right? I told you, and rest is all clear. So let me save it and come to the terminal. So just a second. LSI, my program name is loops. This one. So I'll go Scala C loops. This type, anyways. Types of loop dot class will be created, so I'll copy it. Okay, and Scala. Okay, so it is printing this. So let's check. It is printing 1 to 10 with the okay. So 1 to 10 with the range till until j using this would also print the same. If I show you, this is also printing yeah, there is just one difference, so I forgot to tell you. When you use until and when you are using to, so to will iterate till the last iteration, but if you are using until means till you reach to this point, so it will not iterate for the last iteration. As you can see, uh, it is only iterating till 1 to 9. So this is one difference. So I forgot to tell you. With multiple ranges, as you can see here, a would start from 1 and b would also start from 1. So for this is actually similar to the two for loops we can use. As you can see, we are using different ranges. It means for one a1, it will iterate for all the values of b. So for a1, this loop would run for value of v1, and then for the same value of 1 of a, the loop will again iterate for value of b. So v would be 2, and for the same value of 1, the b value would be 3. So for one value, these statement would be executed 3 times. So as you can see in the code, 1 a is 1, okay, and b is 1. A is 1 and b is 2. A is 1 and b is 3. It means for all possible values of b, uh, uh, for the first value of a, for all possible values of b, the loop would iterate, and again the a would increase. So for a2, b would be 1, and then b would be 2, then b would be 3, and at the end for a3, a equal to 3, b again would be 1 2 3. So as you can see over here, 3 a, a is 3, b is 1, a is 3, b is 2, a is 3, and b is 3. So if you're using multiple ranges, it would work similar to 2 for loop in this case. Okay, so I hope you know things are clear. So this is all for today's lecture, and thank you so much guys for today's lecture, and